Hi, everybody. This is Scott, the CEO of GitButler. Today, we're going to be looking at Gerrit integration. So if you're familiar with Gerrit, if you have a team of people that are using Gerrit, this is a really nice way of being able to use Gerrit very easily. If you're not familiar with Gerrit, it is a review system that is based on individual commits. So each commit is reviewed rather than something like GitHub that reviews everything on a branch. And it's used for very large projects like Android or Chromium, but you can also use it for small projects as well. So we're going to see what it looks like to use Gerrit with GitButler. So I have my GitButler repository here. I have a couple of changes that I've made. Let's say I've implemented this sort of push command. And what you want to do is go into project settings and go down, and there's this Gerrit configuration. So if it's a Gerrit project, you want to turn this on. It should also try to see if it thinks it's a Gerrit project and prompt you for that, but if not, you can manually turn it on. So now let's create a new branch and we'll commit our stuff. And when you're in Gerrit mode, there's a couple different things you can see. One is it automatically adds in this change ID. So this is something that you normally have to have sort of a commit message hook that you have to set up. It's relatively complicated. We have this built into the client. So if you have Gerrit mode on, all of the commits automatically get this. And if you're amending them, it automatically saves that change ID. So it makes it quite easy to use. So now what we can do is push this and we get some Gerrit push options. So it can be a work in progress. You can add a topic to it if you'd like to. I'm going to take that out. You can add any tags in that you want to, but let's keep it somewhat simple and keep all those out. And so now we'll push. Now it'll prompt you. In this case, I'm using Gerrit Hub. And once I've authenticated, you should only have to do that one time. Now you can see this new sort of thing here, which is the change ID. So this is the Gerrit review change ID. So let's take a look at this. So if we click on that, it'll go directly to our sort of Gerrit Hub change. And we can see all of the changes that we had here, right? We can see, what the diff was, what the patch is, and what our commit message is. We can go through sort of the review process here, which is fairly nice. So if you've used Gerrit before, this should look very familiar to you. Let's see what else we can do with GitButler. So if we go back to our GitButler and let's say that I want to actually change this. So now I can come in here and I can modify something. Let's say I got some feedback in our Gerrit thing and I want to change, something here. Let's have this be R instead of F. Okay. So now we save that and we come back here and we see this change. Now, one of the things that's different about Gerrit is that everything is based on this commit as a unit of review. And so normally if you're using Gerrit, what your training would be is amend the commit or sort of rebase stuff if you have sort of a chain sequence. But what we're going to do is just sort of drag and drop. So this is kind of the nice thing is that you don't have to do complicated git commands in order to amend older commits, as opposed to GitHub, which is you just do sort of a new commit and push it up to the branch and update the PR that way. What we need to do is modify the commit. Let's modify this commit and we'll send it up and we'll look at the difference in the patch series. So I have this change that I did, this sort of, instead of F, we're doing R. And I'm going to just drag and drop that onto this commit here. And so now, if I look at this, I can see that it's R instead of F in my diff, and I can push that back up and say, okay, we're good. And now if I go look at this change ID, again, we can see that we're on patch set 2. So there's patch set 1, which had the F option. Patch set 2 sort of integrates this difference. And I can see what the difference is as well, right? So if I look at this, I can see, I changed it from F to R. Right? So I get the inner diff actually between patch set 1 and patch set 2. But I can also see what is just sort of the overall patch set 2, like the second version of this, what does this look like? This is very cool, actually. Like just using Gerrit instead of GitHub in this manner means like I can have 1 or 2 or 3 sort of patches in a series that all have these dependencies. I can get review on them, and then I can go through, make whatever changes I want to, just drag all the changes to make the series better, and then land a clean series rather than sort of a fourth commit that says I'm addressing review problems or something like that, or having to force push something. And you also have this inner diff, so I can see what was the difference between the first version of this commit and the second version and the third version of this commit. So let's do that again real fast. This time we'll do it on the command line. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to install the GitButler CLI. Now with the GitButler CLI, you can do a lot of the same things. So let's go through the same sort of sequence, right? If I look at the status, I can see I have this branch. I added the push command here. And now what I want to do is let's add something else, right? Let's do something slightly that depends on this, but is a different change. All right. So we'll do a dry run mode. Just leave it at that and keep it simple. Okay, so here we can see dry run mode, but let's do this on the command line. So we'll say but status, and we can see, oh, I have this thing. It has a lock, sort of a dependency on this because I'm modifying some code that was introduced by this other commit, but I want to have it be a new commit with a different review. And so I can commit this to the specific branch. So I'm using this little short code here to commit it to this branch, and it should open up a thing, and I can say add dry run mode. And now I have this dry run mode. And now if I use git push, it pushes to the server, and I can see what my new review URL is. So let's go ahead and click on that, and we'll see, okay, I added this dry run, and now I have a relation chain. So I have to add the push command first, and then I can add the dry run on top of that, and I can review them separately, right? So now let's do one final thing, which is, let's say I get review on this add push command again. Instead of handle push, let's name it handle good push. So handle good push, whatever. And now I can see that I have this change, right? And I want to be able to modify this commit. So again, in the GUI, what I could do is just take this and I could just drag it here, and then I can push and it will rebase this one, and that works. In the command line, I can use the command called rub, which is to combine two things. So I'm going to rub xj, which is this one, and I'm going to rub it into this commit, so C0. And that amends that commit. And now if I look at this, the SHA has changed, but the URL hasn't, and I can push this again. And if I look at this review again, now I have patch set 3, and I can see what the difference between patch set 2 and patch set 3 is, which is adding this good handle in here, right? So I get this nice inner diff. And that inner diff works as well if I'm rebasing sort of this whole series. I can see I don't have to, that's actually a problem with sort of inner diff in GitHub or something like that, is that if you're force pushing or if you're rewriting a series, it makes things a little bit more difficult. So that is a quick overview of how you can use Gerrit with GitButler. It's a much, much easier client than using sort of vanilla Git, doing rebasing and sort of the path spec stuff of like push to refs4 master and things like that. If you've used Gerrit, you'll understand most of this stuff. But GitButler handles all of this automatically for you, and it makes it really easy and sort of just drag and drop changes to amend commits and push it back up again, and you get this change ID, and you can just kind of click on it and do whatever you want in the GUI. So that is GitButler and Gerrit, and I hope you enjoy using it if you enjoy using Gerrit. Thanks.